Shoot up. All right, so let's see what we got here. Are there any questions from last week that I need to address? Let's look at the. All right, so yep, no class next Monday. All right. All right, so let's go here. And we'll share my screen. Chat. All right. Everybody see that? I need to change the date on that, as you can see. All right, so we talked about your projects last week. I think everybody had an idea what they're going to do, I believe. You're only 2 assignments this week, really. Out of the cookbook, I want you to pick 4 recipes that you think you can use in your project. That shouldn't be hard. There's a ton of different stuff in there. I prefer most of them to be programming recipes, especially if you're a programmer. If you're an artist, if you want one of them to be like an art kind of graphical recipe, that's fine. Like something with the camera or something, that's cool. But for the most part, I want them to be programming recipes. It's a programming class. I want you to just list them here, and over the next 4 weeks, you'll be implementing them in your project. All right. Is that fairly straightforward? Hope so. Galleries. All right. So you have to do that, and I'll change the date on this real quick. The personal project devlog. I talk about devlogs a lot because they're very useful, and you don't know how valuable they are until you have to leave a project for about 6 months and come back to it. And being able to look through your past notes is incredibly useful to getting you back on track as to where you were, right? This goes hand in hand with commenting your code fairly well so that you can understand what you did before. But anyway, once you create a devlog for your personal project that you posted about in the forum, name the Google Doc, last name, first initial, SGD213 project devlog. Share it with me, paste the link here. Logs follow these guidelines, right? I'm not going to enforce this, but I prefer my logs to be in reverse chronological order. That way the latest thing's always on top. When you open the document, it usually takes you to the top of the document. For me, it makes sense to have the latest thing on top, right? And I can read back in time as I scroll down. Do it the other way, get used to using the command down arrow or the end screen to get to the end of the document so you can get there quickly. Because these logs can get kind of lengthy, and if you have to go to the bottom of it, you want to find a quick way of getting there instead of scrolling there endlessly. Right? But I like to put it on top because that way the latest thing is always right there at top. And this is just how I like to do it. If you have another way of creating your log and you want to do it that way, as long as you do it consistently, I don't care, right? But I typically do my logs just like this, and you'll note that my class notes are very similar to this, right? So always list your date, year, month, day, right? Get used to doing that, dating your files that way, so your file system, if you do that, your file system stays in order, right? Then always have, every time you log in, every time you sit down to work on your project, open your log up and start it this way, right? And put the things that you plan on doing during that session in a list, and then your log, sit there and log what you're doing, right? So I'm working on item 1, and if you have a problem with item 1, say what the problem is. If you Google solutions for that problem and you find relevant links, paste them in there, right? What this does is allows you to, the next time, if you have to leave it for a while, you come back and you see links, and it helps your memory, sparks your memory to remember what you were working on and what solutions you came to, right? Also, if you share it with me when you're in class, it helps me to know what you've already looked into, so I don't kind of tread the same ground. And it helps me know that you looked into something rather than waiting for me to Google it for you, right? Don't make me do that. I love helping my students, but programming students are, the whole point of learning to program is learning to be self-sustaining as much as possible. And if I haven't taught you how to teach yourself by the time you get out of here, then I've kind of failed, right? So if I have to Google everything for you, you are not doing what you need to do if you want to be a programmer. All right. Any questions about that? Guess not. All right. Let's see. Let me change the date on that real quick. And since we're off Monday, right, I will set the due date for the 20th, actually. So you have a couple extra days to do that. Yes, and one of the reasons I'm not requiring a ton of work this week, right? As typical, I should put this in the announcements, I guess. You probably remember, right? Due date for all late work for first half of semester. This is week 9, so we are past the halfway point, right? It is due October 20th. After that, it will be a 0. This is pretty much how I do it every week, every semester, I mean. I'm pretty lenient with due dates, as you know, but what I try to avoid is at the end of the semester having people turn in stuff from like week 1 and 2 and trying to grade all that stuff, right? So I don't do that. So the halfway point, I cut it off and say, if you want to get it done, I'll go back and regrade things, but I'm not going all the way back to week 1. All right. So if you have any, I don't think anybody here actually falls into this category, but if you have any late work, this next week is your time to do it, right? So you have to next Tuesday to get it done. All right. Any questions about that? Like I said, I don't think any of you fall in that category, but one or two of you might have something out. I don't know. All right. So project recipes, project devlog. Let me see. Refresh. Why didn't that change? Oh. Earlier. Oh. Oh, the time is different. I see. All right. There we go. All right. Go ahead and open up the project we were working on last time for the object-oriented programming with the spawner and everything. Right. We're gonna look at that once again. Right. And just to clear up some confusion that I had anyway. And let me go ahead and get this. I really hate that. So here's our code here that I'll update in a minute. And we'll just look at this real quick, make sure it's... Anybody have any questions about last week's assignment? Anybody have any issues? It's not. All right. And I hold down spacebar and it does things, right? All right. So let's look at this real quick. Right, so we had our enemy as our base class, right? And then we had a turtle, a thief, and a pirate. And in order to have these functions here are overriding, they're hiding the functions of the parent class. In order to not get a warning when you do that, right? Let's see if I take out that new, save it. We get a warning. It says, pirate, do something, hides inherited member. Enemy, do something, use a new keyword if hiding was intended. So I'm going to see if that's an actual error or is it a warning. It is a warning. All right. So I think it'll actually work, or it should work. Let's see. Make sure before I say something wrong. All right. So it does work without the new keyword, right? If you look at our notes, though, right here, I think, right, I was looking for answers as to why there's this new keyword, right, and there's also the keywords virtual and override, right, and I wanted clarification as to what the difference was there, right. So I found this, and this is on the official Microsoft website, right? When you use override and new keywords, right? And just as a warning, the technical writers at Microsoft are not really teachers, and I don't know that they explain things in the clearest of ways sometimes, right? But we're going to go through some of this and see if we can figure out when we should use one as opposed to the other, right? So if you look at this, here they have a base class, and then they have a derived class from that base class, right? And that's similar to what we have here. We have a pirate, and we have the enemy. Let's just worry about the pirate for now, right? All right, so right now we have the pirate does something, and let's see if it says, when we run it, let's say the pirate does something. All right, so turtle is alive. Oh, yay. How bad is it? Wow. A minute. Oh, wow. Yay. Does it still say 829? Yeah, wow. Okay. Uh, that sucks. That makes things really hard. I'm going to comment out some of this stuff so I don't see it. I just want to see the pirate for now. Fact. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to let me go to the spawner. With that amount of lag, it's hard to do anything. All right. So Charles, you were just about to ask about what I missed about the lag. Okay, man. Oh, man. Hard to work like that. I'm trying to think what to do. I really don't, there's no solution to it really. When it's running slow, it just runs slow. I mean, I could try restarting my router here, but that would obviously kick everybody out of here, and we'd have to. I don't want to do that. So we're just. I don't know. So we'll record it and I'll put it out there, and hopefully, like I said, I wasn't going to do a long class today anyway. So I want to try to get through what I want to do here, and then I'll just Wednesday I'll upload it and we'll go from there, right? So I really just wanted to kind of go over what the difference between using the new keyword and override was. And part of it's to clarify it in my own mind, right? So hopefully we'll get there somehow. I don't know. So the new keyword totally it says here that keyword preserves the relationship that produced that output. It suppresses the warning, right? So if you put the new keyword in there, it hides what goes on in the original function, right? So go to thief. All right, wait, no, we're in the pirate. That's right. And the new keyword can go between before public or after public, right? So like that. And then when you run it, you see that pirate is doing something, right? All right, so what's different about override, right? One second, that stupid phone's ringing. All right. All right, what we're going to do to test this, instead of writing another method, well, we'll create another method just to test it, right? So we're going to go into pirate, and we say, let's see. Let's go in the base class first. So we go into enemy and say public and virtual do something else. Let's say debug.log doing something else. All right. Public virtual void. Right. Okay. I don't know if you see that or not. Probably not. He's maybe 2 minutes behind now. Yeah, okay, well. All right, well. Okay. Are you seeing pirate right now? All right, well, we're lucky for the right now. All right, knock on wood. All right. So now we're going to override this method and see what happens. All right, so we're in pirate, say public override void, and that's good. So it sees that function and do something else, and we'll just hit that, right? All right, so that was helpful. All right, so if you saw that, it listed all the functions that had virtual marked, and in this case only one, right? And then I hit enter it, and it actually gave me the base function call as well, right? So the difference between doing the new, right? Let's put this in your notes because it's coming clear to me, right? Difference between using new and override. New is when you want to completely do something different in the child derived function. Right? And override is when you want to extend the functionality of the base class. All right. Now to extend it, you do need to call this here, right? And you'll see this very common. That's why it does it for you, right? So do something else is actually going to call the base class and then call, then do whatever is in the body of the child class as well, right? So we'll say debug.log pirate is doing something else. All right. So when we run this, we should see, right, when we call do something else, we should see, I'm going to put base class, right? We should see base class doing something else and the pirate doing something else, right? We should see both those statements. Now we do need to call that, we'll call that up here, do. All right, everybody, is it with me? Or did it just mess up? I guess it. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't ask the question. All right. Anyway, I'll just hope you're with me. All right. It'll be in the video anyway. So in this case, I called that function. What should happen, right? This do something else. It actually will call, because it overrides. It's going to call the child function. It's going to call this one. But because we're calling the base function as well, it's going to do that first. It's really the extension comes in calling the base function. The question is, can you? I'll look at that in a minute. The question is, can you call the base, that base dot something in a new function? I don't know. If so, then I don't know what the difference would be. But let's look. All right, let's check this out first. All right, so here we go. All right, so we have a pirate. I'm gonna hit the space bar. I'm gonna pause it. Let's pause that real quick. Oh, go away. Right. And you do see here base class doing something else. Pirate is doing something else. That did, in fact, work just like it's supposed to do. Right? Wait. Yeah, that's the question. All right, so wait. In SEnemy, I just did a get key up, right? So we only saw that one time. I'm now going to take. Let's see. I did that in each one, and that was some of the confusion I was having, I think. All right, so I'm actually going to comment that out. surround with. Here's it. There used to be a comment. Where the hell did it go? Alright, well, I'll just do it old school, I guess. There used to be a hotkey for commenting out a section like that. But anyway, I'm going to do that. Comment these out. That's fine. All right. Now I'm going to just put get key in here. Get key instead of get key up, so I can test this better. Stop that. Play it again. All right, base class, yes. So every time pause it again. Base class, doing something else. All right, note there's more base class doing something else here than there are pirates, and that's because on the turtles and the thief, right, this is getting called because it is part of the enemy class, right? So we're seeing this for all of them, right? No matter what class it is. And then for the pirates, you're seeing that plus the pirate is doing something else. So I don't know if you can see that because I don't know how bad the lag is right now. But the bottom line is, if you need to, I'm going to test that one thing I said before. Right? So I'm in a new function here. Can I go in here and can I call the base function? That's the question. Base. Do something. It appears that I can. What happens if I come in here and say do something though? Will I get both of them? Or give me some kind of error? What? So this is the question. Do that. So if I see this and the pirate, then it makes the question is what the whole point of overriding it is, right? If not, then there is something different about it. Will it give me an error? Nope. Power is purple. Do that real quick. Pause it. See what happened. Okay, so that is the difference, right? All right, so I don't see any pirate stuff in my output at all, right? So what that shows is that even though I have this do something function in my child class, my derived class, it is not getting called, right? In the new function. Hmm. So the base, calling the base seems to negate what's after it, right? Um, if I take that out, what happens? See, this is what it is confusing. I'll let you. It can be confusing, and this is where it kind of gets that way, right? All right, so I just want to test that theory. Huh. Hmm. All right, so I expected to see Pirate saying he's doing something there, so that's odd. Let's collapse it. Nope, never does. That's odd. Let's start it again. Nope. The pirate is supposed to be moving how? Let's see. Oh, he's supposed to be spinning like that. Yeah, so he's not spinning either. Um, hmm. So the bottom line here, it appears, right? Um, if you want to call the child function from the parent class, function from the parent class, you have to use virtual and override. That is why, right? If you're hiding it, you have to call that function from inside that class. Apparently, right? That's why I did this here. And once I took this out, it doesn't work anymore, right? Just to test that theory, what we can do since we're calling do something now, right? Let's make do something virtual, and we'll override it in pirate and see if that works, and then it'll prove my theory, and hopefully it'll prove my theory, right? So now if I go into pirate and I say override, right? Now it should say pirate. It should see pirate doing something as well as um, I am an enemy doing something. Right. But we're going to put the base back in there, and I'm going to put a debug break. What this does is pauses the game. Right. It's like hitting the pause button in the game. And this is very useful when you have things happening very rapidly, so you can quickly see if it's happening in the moment, right? Make sure if you use debug.break, make sure you take it out before you publish your game, because it will break your game, right? So don't do that. So let's try that. All right, so we have a pirate in the scene. I'm going to push the button, and it paused it, right? Oh, there we go. And it does say I'm an enemy doing something, and a pirate doing something, right? And it did say that 3 times was 3 pirates, and it said that once here because that's for the thief, right? All right, so I think I've gotten to the bottom of this, right? The new keyword is when you want to have the child class had the same function name as the parent class, but it's going to do totally something different, right? And you have to call that apparently within that child class. The override and virtual keywords are when you want to extend the functionality of the base class function in the child, but then if you want to extend it, you put the base keyword in there and call the parent class function. All right. All right. There is not an assignment with this. I just wanted to clarify that, and I hope it's clear because I know it's confusing. All right. So, I don't know how far the lag is now, but are there any questions about any of that? All right. Are there questions about the other 2 assignments? The devlog is pretty simple, right? And just tell me what the cookbook forum. Yep, that's pretty simple too. Other than that, I need you to get in any late work you have before we meet on next Wednesday. We still meet this Wednesday though, so if you have any questions about anything, then that will be the time to join us and ask questions about any past assignments or anything else, right? All right. Any questions about anything? I'm going to stop. I think some of you are in my Swift class, right? Do you have anybody questions about that? Okay. All right. Um, okay. All right. Anybody else have questions about that? Charles, what did you had questions about something? What was it? Did we already cover that? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna run use the bathroom real quick. If you don't have any questions about anything else, you're free to go. I'll be right back. And Charles, if you want to hang out and we'll look at that, I'll open the book up and we'll see what we can do. All right. All right. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Um, let's see. So, what page are you on exactly when you're talking about? What exactly are you working on, Charles? Uh, so he's not here either. All right. Um, I don't think so. I'll look. Most of our classes, especially the second year classes, we just don't have enough volume, to offer them twice. All right. I'm doing two things at once here. All right, so I'm answering Jacob's question about registration and trying to deal with Charles's issue with Swift. All right, so to answer your question, Jacob, no. None of those are offered in the fall. I don't know. It's one of them. I mean, this issue comes up when you, if you only take 12 hours a semester, you're not. It's going to be a situation where you can't finish in 2 years. It's just impossible. I mean, your best shot is to follow the pick list sheet almost to the letter, right? If you don't, you're going to add time onto your. There's just no way around it, and so it means you have taking 12 semester hours a semester is not a way of finishing it quickly because you get stuck in these situations here. So I'll do whatever you want me to do, but there's no way of offering all of our classes both semesters. Just not enough people, and which means there's not the money's not there, and that's where it all comes down to. So, all right. So let me I'll go ahead. All right, I've approved the courses you have there, so if you want to go ahead and register for those, you can. And if you need to talk to me further about the other two classes or something, we can talk about that. I'm not right now. It looks like the only way to finish in the spring is to really, yes, but spring, fall. By fall, you're looking to finish by the fall there. Even to do that, it looks like this spring semester is going to be heavy, very heavy. Because I think you need 134 and 218, the Swift 2 class. Because it looks like you're definitely on the programming track, it looks like, because you're taking software engineering. It's 214 and 218 in the fall. No, 218 is in the spring. That's 118 is right now. No. Yeah, this is the fall. Yeah. Getting lost, right? So 118 is right now. 218 is right after it. So it's in the spring. 172. Oh, 170. Damn, that's another class too, isn't it? Yeah, 172 is in the spring as well. So that'd be a heavy load, man. This comes from only taking 12. I'm assuming you've only taken about 12 hours each semester. Just about, yes. Most of it's all in spring, yeah. I mean, the 134 would have been something to take last spring, right? Because it's an easy class. Get it out of the way. And they suggest actually that taking the Swift early on gets that out of the way too. I don't know. So anyway, think about that. You can go ahead and register for the other classes. We can always add later. So I mean, it's something we don't have to throw them in there yet, but it's something to think about because, I mean, it's going to be a big load for sure. But I want to see if I can handle Charles's issues right now. All right. All right, so I'll fire up Xcode here. All right, so structures. So you're having issues with 2.3, is that right? Okay. Hmm. All right, we'll look at it. Sure. Okay. That's weird. I'm trying to load the structures lab. Okay, there it is. All right. All right. So, what page is that on? Or I mean, in the exercise. Okay. All right. The member wise and custom initializers. Is that what you're talking about? And all right. Um. Which one did you have particular question? So I haven't went back and done these at home, so I haven't. I'd have to work through it all. Can you? Is it the whole page you're having issues with, or what? Okay. Can you show me? Do you have it open now? Can you show it to me? I can. Yeah, 1 second. I'm gonna make it larger so I can read it. I made it larger. I can read it. All right. So where's the problem at? Use the initializer for inches. Set the height 65. Right. Um. Well, a variable instance of height, right? See, the struct is the height is a struct. You see that at the top of your screen there, right? Well, a variable instance of that. See, you're redefining height there for some reason, right? Um, but what you're doing is creating a new height becomes a data type of its own, right? So you need to create an instance of height called someone's height. Well, it says now create a variable instance of height called someone's height. So it's going to be, um, yeah, but it would say colon height. Height is now a data type. Do you understand that? Okay. So someone's height is going to be a variable type. I mean, someone's height colon height. Let me see. Like on page 137, you see, have your book open as well, so I can refer to it. But do you have your book open? All right. There's a 137. There's the struct odometer, right? And then it has odometer, lowercase odometer equals odometer, which is a constructor, right? And then so that creates a new one, right? Let's see. All right, so do you have it open? Okay. Uh-huh. We'll do it again and read the error. That way, you can. I mean, first off, I think you said int. It's not int. It's init. INIET. And those are very different words. First off, you need to get that before you do anything else. You're redefining struct height. Well, first off, that second height is spelled wrong, so that's why it didn't give you an error, right? So on line 41, spell it correctly, and you should get an error because you're redefining it. So spell it correctly. All right. See how you got a squiggly now? Hover over the squiggly, and what does it say? Yeah. So you're declaring it again. You can't do that, right? So you're not supposed to do that because that's not what it's asking you to do. So just get rid of that line and the curly bracket that it goes. No. The line where you're redeclaring it. The where the error is, that's the error, right? The thing below it where it says var someone's height, that's where you're supposed to be declaring a new structure, right? And go get rid of the curly bracket because now you have an extra curly bracket. Yeah. All right, so where it says var someone's height, you need to be basically doing what it said, when you go to, this is where you would have, you see on 140, because you were just on 140, right? This is where you would have where var someone's height equals height parentheses and your initializer or whatever their height's, but 65, what it said to do, right? Or 165. That's where you do that. You get rid of the int and the colon. Are you on 140? You see where it says let current temperature equals temperature? I mean, you're basically doing that. You're just doing height. That makes sense? So see, he just defined a structure called temperature, right? And then he creates, in this case, it's a property, I guess, or whatever, because he's let. It's not a variable. It's a constant or whatever. Oh, what the hell? It's not an int. It's a height. We'll do it because you're saying you can do it, but you're not doing it. So I want to see you do it right there on screen while I'm watching you do it. So no, what are you doing? Someone's height is what they're asking for, right? Read this. Now create a variable instance of height called someone's height. You've already written that. Why would you retype it again? You just the colon, huh? Okay. I mean, I'm looking at it. You have to be looking at it, right? It says now create a variable instant of height called someone's height. What part of that do you not understand? Okay. You created a structure. That is a new data type, right? You understand that? Okay. Now we're going to create a instance of that. Do you know what that means? Okay. But you're going to be a programmer, right? Okay. Um, you need to understand this, or you need to decide to be on the art side of the fence. I mean, and I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm just being, because this an instance of a variable isn't something that should. We're in 213 right now, or this is, I mean, this isn't new, right? So we talked about classes being like a class, right? That this is similar to a struct. Um, the class is not the object, right? It's a template for an object. Remember you were talking about that? So the height struct isn't the the thing you create with it. You haven't created one until you create an instance of that. Okay? It's called instantiation. Does that word sound familiar? Yes. In fact, we did that just in 213 when we in the spawner, right? It said instantiate. Remember that? I hope so because it was like last week. All right. Well, here on line 42, you're going to instantiate one of these height structures. Okay. So where it says colon int, you got to delete that. And so it's just say var someone's height. Get rid of the colon. Equals. All right. Now, if you look on page 140, right, where it says let current temperature equals temperature, and then it says Celsius. Well, here we're not creating a temperature. We're creating a height, right? All right. Yes, height. Yes, height. Because we're creating a height structure, right? Yes. All right. And then you're going to put the parentheses just like they'd have on 1.40, right? Yep. And then we want height in, what did it say? Inches. what? Use the initializer for inches, set the height to 65. All right. So well, you have to. What does it say? Let me look at mine. So you haven't created the two custom initializers, right? So what it for right now, just put in both of those. We're about to change that because you haven't done the initializers. So if you had, it would give you options right now. You can hit tab and it'll go over there. By the way, all right. Because this isn't the way. What you want, I want you to understand what this is trying to do, right? I mean, if you wanted some, it's basically it's creating converter from inches to centimeters. Does that make sense? So if you feed the height initializer inches, it's going to give you centimeters and vice versa. All right, and that's what on in the assignment. All right, it says create two custom initializers. One initializer will take a double argument that represents height in inches. The other initializer will take a double argument that represents height in centimeters. Each initializer should take the pass value, use it to set the property that corresponds to the unit of measurement passed in. Should then set the other property by calculating the right value from the passed in value. Right, passed in value. All right. All right. So, where is it? So yeah, so what I'm seeing on your page you're at the bottom of this. Scroll up because I don't see. All right, so make height stroke. No, you're yeah. I was just making sure, right? So yeah, so you made the struct, you just hadn't made the initializers, right? So you created a struct, that's fine, right? Um, oh, so you created these two, and then you set these two variables. That's not an initializer, right? Um, well, that may have had something to do with the fact that you were doing it you were redefining the struct, and then the struct was named incorrectly. Let's try it again, right? So yeah, you're inside. It needs to be inside the height struct there, right? So one second. Okay, see that's one of the problems, right? What are you doing? It's init it's init for initialize, right? Yeah, it's called init, and it's very common, right? Well, look at what's done on page 140 with that temperature, right? See that? Okay, where are those init functions? What's inside the what? It's inside the structure, is it not? So the struct temperature curly bracket, and that matching curly bracket is below the last init function, correct? And we're defining a height, right, as the assignment calls for. It says make a height structure with two variable properties, create two custom initializers, just as he's done on page 140, right? Inside the struct. The initializers are part of the structure. Is that clear? Okay, well, then you need to go up to your struct on line 30, and you need to put the two initializer functions inside of that struct. Well, that's where the struct starts, right? So after line 32, hit enter a couple times, and then put your first init function there. So it would be init. It's inches, I guess. Yep, inches colon double, right? It's just like on the page. I mean, I don't understand what you don't understand now, but on page 140 where it says init Celsius colon double, right? You're going to have inches colon double, right? Okay, so do that. Wait. What? Okay, that's fine. All right. What's it say? No, I mean that don't make any sense. I mean that um, where was it? Okay. Right now, I don't know why that's giving you an error other than see the let statements on 38 39. Um, I don't know why those are there. Just comment them out for right now because they might be causing problems. Yep, yep. And comment that print statement out too because I think it's invalid now because it's out of scope. All right. Now see if you can put height in inches there and see what happens. Because I don't know why it was giving you an error. All right, so I think that was an issue. Oh, we don't delete them yet. We need to do the other init. We've got one initializer now, right? We need to do the other one, and you don't do it inside this that init. Yeah. All right. Well, that's not self. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna have to do some calculation here now. All right. So that's fine. Right. So what you've done here is just you've set those variables to whatever was passed in. Right. But now we also a second line in each one of those, which if you look on page 140, it kind of gives you an idea what to do there, right? We have to set the opposite, the property that we didn't pass in. We need to calculate, right? Yes, I mean it's math, yeah. So yeah, so I mean the whole point of this is to convert inches into centimeters and vice versa, right? So conversion takes math, so that's what we got to do. So go in the I guess after line 35 or 30, go just to line 36 because it's empty anyway. Right? All right, and you're going to say height in centimeters equals whatever that conversion thing is. It says here, right? Yeah, inches time. I know. We got that's math. That's the math part. Was you have to put equals, right? Or I guess yeah. Anyway, equals height in centimeters times um, what? So no, sorry, height in inches times 2 point whatever that is, 2.54. No, that whole damn thing. I know you're trying to. That's right. Right? We know height in inches because we just passed it in, right? It's like, hey, I know how many inches this is. Tell me how many centimeters it is. So we have to calculate that. So height in centimeters equals, right? And you can say height in inches times 2.64. It's right there in the book, right there, right below, right above you, isn't it? Yeah, it's right. Well, this says 254 there. How's that possible? Oh, it is 254. Sorry, it is 254. 2.54. Yeah. All right. And now you're going to do the inverse of that for the other one. You have to calculate height in inches. Yeah. Height in inches equals height in centimeters. I guess divided by. Yep, yep. Yeah, you definitely need to know that. 2.54. Yep. All right. Well, you got to have some output right now. It's not going to do anything, right? Now you have to actually create one, right? Um, so what does it say here? It says, so instead of one of those down here where the let statements are, right? All right, go down there. All right, just hit enter right there. So you have a line. Hit enter. No, yes. All right. All right, and here you're going to say let my height all right equal yeah here you're going to call your let's see you're going to say yeah the height initializer, yep, height, and pass it in 65. You got to we got to say, what is it? If you look on page 140, right, and you say pass inches, I guess, first. Just try that. Right. Inches or height in inches, sorry, and 65.0, I guess. All right, and then go down to that uncomment the print statement. All right, try that. I mean, you might want some spaces in there, but whatever. It's gonna all run together. But oh, because my height is a structure, you got to put my height before them. You see, if you look at page 140, it says current temperature dot Celsius. Yep. Yes, my height is the structure. Yep. And they have two properties. Yep. No. God knows, man. Jesus, dude. All right. Structure has properties. It's my height dot height in inches, and then my height dot height in centimeters. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's fine. I mean, yep, that'll work. Now run it, see what happens. Ta-da. Yeah, I mean, some of that's problematic because some of that shouldn't have been totally foreign to you, given that C# works very similarly, and you know, I don't know. If you want to be a programmer, you need to really kind of get into this sort of thing, because a lot of what you're missing there is stuff that you have to deal with all the time, and I'm kind of concerned that it seemed foreign to you. So I mean, Swift is a different language, right? I mean, that's the whole point. If it was the same language, then there'd be no point in having a different class, right? But it's not totally different. I mean, my concern isn't so much in how the Swift it was different in Swift. Is my concern in some respect was that when I talked about instantiation and um, creating an instance variable, you seem to be kind of hazy on that, whereas that terminology is exactly the same in both languages, and that you seem to be iffy on that, and that gives me more concern because those are general programming terms, right? Those aren't specific to Swift, and it's that general stuff that you have to know, or else you can't go from language to language because you don't have a common language between them, right? Um, and it's that sort of thing that it's knowing the commonalities between languages that makes you a programmer, and it gives you the ability to go between languages because you know how they relate, right? There are peculiarities in Swift that's why you take the class, right? Is to learn those peculiarities, but having you've already had some programming, um, some of that terminology needs to stick a little more than it seems to be sticking. Um, so, and the only way to make it stick is to do it more and read it more. Um, I don't know what else to say about that. But are there any other? And I understand that. I understand that. I mean, I'm a little rusty too in some areas because as you, I play music. I've been playing more music than I have been programming lately, and that's on me. But I mean, I understand. But are there any other questions on this assignment that you have right now, or